Hello, and welcome to Cloud-Woven Stories, where we drift through time and knowledge, exploring the wonders of our world in a peaceful, restful way. Tonight, we're going to journey together to ancient Egypt, to a place that existed over 2,000 years ago on the sun-warmed shores of the Mediterranean Sea. We're traveling to the Library of Alexandria, the greatest repository of human knowledge the ancient world had ever seen. So settle yourself comfortably now. Let your body sink into whatever surface supports you. Feel the weight of your limbs growing heavier, your breathing becoming slower and deeper. There's nowhere you need to be. Nothing you need to do except listen and let your mind wander through the corridors of history with me. Tonight's story is about books, but not the kind you might hold in your hands today. These were scrolls of papyrus, rolled and tied, containing the accumulated wisdom of civilizations. It's about scholars who dedicated their lives to understanding the world. And it's about a dream that lasted 6 centuries, a dream of gathering all human knowledge under one roof. Let's begin our journey. The birth of a dream. Picture the year 331 before the Common Era. A young Macedonian general named Alexander stands on the western edge of the Nile Delta, looking out at the Mediterranean Sea. The salt air fills his lungs as waves crash against the shore. Here, where the great river meets the endless blue, he envisions something extraordinary. A city. His city. Alexandria. Alexander the Great was more than a military genius. He had been tutored by the philosopher Aristotle, one of the greatest minds of ancient Greece. Alexander had seen Aristotle's vast personal library, had walked through the philosophical schools of Athens, and he understood something profound. Conquest of land meant nothing without the conquest of ignorance. Knowledge was the truest form of power. Though Alexander died young, barely into his 30s, his dream for Alexandria lived on. After his death in 323 BCE, his vast empire was divided among his generals. Egypt fell to Ptolemy, one of Alexander's closest companions. Ptolemy declared himself pharaoh, becoming Ptolemy I Soter, which means the savior. And Ptolemy was determined to make Alexandria not just a capital of politics and trade, but a capital of learning that would shine brighter than even Athens itself. The year was approximately 295 BCE when Ptolemy charged a man named Demetrius of Phalerum with an extraordinary task. Demetrius had been a student of Aristotle's successor, Theophrastus. He was a scholar, a philosopher, and a former politician from Athens who had sought refuge in Alexandria after being exiled from his homeland. Ptolemy looked at this learned man and gave him an assignment that would echo through the millennia: create a universal library. Gather all the books in the world. It was an audacious goal, perhaps even an impossible one. But Demetrius set to work with fervor, and gradually, stone by stone, scroll by scroll, the dream took shape. The library would not stand alone. It was to be part of a larger complex called the Mouseion, named after the Muses, those 9 Greek goddesses who presided over the arts and sciences. The Mouseion was conceived as a sanctuary of learning, a place where brilliant minds could gather, study, debate, and push the boundaries of human understanding. Think of it as the world's first university, though that word wouldn't be coined for another 1,000 years. The complex rose in the Bruchion, the royal quarter of Alexandria, near the palaces where the Ptolemies ruled. It was a sprawling institution that would have taken your breath away if you walked through its gates. Imagine Greek columns soaring toward the sky, their white marble gleaming in the Egyptian sun. There were lecture halls where professors could share their discoveries with eager students. There were meeting rooms for scholarly debate. Gardens provided peaceful spaces for contemplation, their pathways lined with flowering plants and shade trees. Some accounts even suggest there was a zoo, bringing exotic animals from distant lands so scholars could study the diversity of life on Earth. And at the heart of it all was the library itself, the great collection of scrolls that would grow to become legendary. The hunger for books. The Ptolemies didn't simply hope that books would find their way to Alexandria. They actively, aggressively hunted for them with a passion that bordered on obsession. They understood that Egypt had a natural advantage, the papyrus plant, which grew abundantly along the fertile banks of the Nile River. This reed-like plant could be harvested, its stems split and pounded flat, then dried in the sun to create sheets of writing material. These sheets would be glued together to form long, continuous strips that could be rolled up into scrolls. Egypt had a monopoly on papyrus, and the Ptolemies intended to use it. Royal agents were dispatched to every corner of the known world with bags of silver and gold, authorized to purchase any book they could find. They traveled to Athens, to Rhodes, to Pergamum, to the ancient cities of Mesopotamia and Persia. Wherever there was knowledge recorded, Alexandria's agents appeared with their coin purses open. But the Ptolemies didn't stop at honest commerce. They were willing to use more creative methods to build their collection. One of the most extraordinary policies was the book confiscation system. Picture a merchant ship sailing into Alexandria's harbor, its hold full of grain or spices or wine. The ship would dock, and before the captain could even think about unloading his commercial cargo, officials would board. They would search the entire vessel from bow to stern, looking not for contraband, but for books. Any manuscript found would be immediately seized and carried to the library. There, skilled scribes would work with remarkable speed, copying the text onto fresh papyrus. The copy would then be returned to the ship's owner, often with a payment as compensation. But the original stayed in Alexandria, added to the ever-growing collection. These confiscated manuscripts were given a special designation in the library's catalog, from the ships. There's a particularly delightful story about Ptolemy III Euergetes, who ruled from 246 to 221 BCE. He approached the city of Athens with a request. Athens possessed the original manuscripts of the three great tragic poets, Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Euripides. These weren't copies. These were the actual documents, the authorized versions kept in the state archives, treasures beyond price. Ptolemy asked to borrow them so they could be copied. The Athenians, understandably suspicious, demanded a deposit, 15 talents of silver, an astronomical sum weighing nearly half a ton. Ptolemy paid it without hesitation. The precious manuscripts arrived in Alexandria and were brought to the library's scriptorium, where the finest scribes worked. These scribes used the highest quality papyrus available, creating copies so beautiful, so carefully crafted, that they were themselves works of art. And then Ptolemy made his decision. He kept the originals and sent the beautiful copies back to Athens, telling them they could keep his 15 talents of silver. It was worth it to possess the authentic words of the great playwrights. Athens could have the money. Alexandria would have the manuscripts. This story reveals something essential about the Ptolemaic approach to knowledge. They would stop at nothing to acquire it. But it also reveals something deeper. This wasn't merely about hoarding books like a dragon hoards gold. It was about preservation, about making sure that the words of great thinkers wouldn't be lost to time. The physical reality of ancient books. Before we walk through the library's halls, let's pause for a moment to understand what we'd actually see there. Because when we think of a library today, we imagine shelves lined with bound books, their spines labeled and organized. The Library of Alexandria looked nothing like that. The ancient world had not yet invented the codex, the bound book as we know it. Instead, all texts were written on scrolls of papyrus. These scrolls could be quite long, sometimes reaching 30 feet or more when fully unrolled. A single scroll might contain one book of an ancient work, what we would call a chapter today. So Homer's Iliad, with its 24 books, would require 24 separate scrolls. Imagine holding one of these scrolls in your hands. The papyrus would feel smooth but slightly fibrous, with a faint golden brown color. You'd see the text written in neat columns, each line carefully scribed in black ink. The writing would flow without spaces between words, without punctuation marks as we know them, without paragraphs or chapters clearly marked. Reading required skill and practice. These scrolls were fragile. Papyrus could crack if it became too dry, could mold if it became too damp. The Mediterranean climate of Alexandria, with its humidity from the sea, was actually rather hostile to papyrus preservation. Scrolls needed to be recopied regularly, or they would simply disintegrate. Maintaining the collection wasn't a matter of simply shelving books and walking away. It required constant labor, constant vigilance, constant copying and recopying to keep the knowledge alive. The scrolls were stored in wooden shelves or pigeonholes, organized by subject and author. Small tags or tablets would be attached to the storage areas, identifying what was kept there. These tablets were called pinox, and that word would become famous for another reason we'll explore in a moment. Estimates of the collection's size vary wildly, depending on which ancient source you consult. The most conservative historians suggest there may have been 40,000 scrolls. Others speak of 400,000. Some ancient writers claim the library held 700,000 volumes, though modern scholars think this might be an exaggeration. But even taking the most modest estimate, 40,000 scrolls represents an absolutely staggering collection for the ancient world. It would have been larger than anything else in existence, a concentration of knowledge unprecedented in human history. The library wasn't housed in a single building, but spread across multiple structures in the palace complex. There would have been reading rooms where scholars could sit with scrolls spread before them, studying by the light that poured through tall windows or by the flicker of oil lamps. There would have been scriptoriums where professional scribes worked constantly, copying texts both for the library's own preservation and for wealthy patrons around the Mediterranean who wanted their own copies. Eventually, the main collection grew so large that a daughter library was established in a different part of the city, in the Serapeum, a temple dedicated to the god Serapis. This annex was said to hold over 40,000 scrolls of its own. The guardians of knowledge. Now let's meet some of the remarkable people who worked in this extraordinary place. The library was overseen by a head librarian, appointed by the Ptolemaic ruler and given the highest status. This position came with prestige, wealth, and often the responsibility of tutoring the royal children. These weren't simply administrators filing away manuscripts. These were some of the greatest minds of their age. The first head librarian was a scholar named Xenodotus of Ephesus, who served in the early 3rd century BCE. Xenodotus worked on standardizing the texts of Homer, comparing different versions of the Iliad and the Odyssey to establish authoritative editions. He was the first person known to organize texts using alphabetical order, starting with the first letter of the author's name. This might seem obvious to us now, but it was revolutionary then. Xenodotus looked at the growing collection and realized they needed a system, a way to find things. So he created one, setting a precedent that would influence libraries for millennia to come. But the most important organizational work was done by a man who never actually held the title of head librarian, though he's remembered more than any of them. His name was Callimachus of Cyrene, and he lived from approximately 310 to 240 BCE. Callimachus was a poet and a scholar, known for his wit and his belief that literature should be concise and elegant. One of his most famous sayings was, "A big book is a big bore," by which he meant that writers should get to their point rather than bloating their work with unnecessary words. Despite never becoming head librarian, or perhaps because he had the time to focus on the work rather than administrative duties, Callimachus created something extraordinary. He compiled the Pinox, a word meaning tablets or tables. The full title was Tables of Persons Eminent in Every Branch of Learning, together with a list of their writings. This was the world's first comprehensive library catalog, and it was massive, 120 volumes in total. The Pinox organized the library's holdings into categories: rhetoric, law, epic poetry, tragedy, comedy, lyric poetry, history, medicine, mathematics, natural science, and miscellaneous works. Within each category, authors were listed alphabetically. For each author, Callimachus provided a brief biography, including their father's name, birthplace, and sometimes nicknames they were known by. Then came a complete list of every work that author had written, sometimes including the number of lines each work contained. For prolific writers like Euripides or Sophocles, these entries must have been enormously long, spanning multiple columns. The Pinox hasn't survived to the present day, but enough references to it exist in later works that scholars have been able to reconstruct its basic structure. It became the model for cataloging systems throughout the Mediterranean world and influenced library organization for centuries. Some scholars even see its influence in medieval Arabic scholarship, particularly in a 10th century work called Al-Fihrist. After Xenodotus came Apollonius of Rhodes, who served as the second head librarian. Apollonius is remembered today not primarily for his library work, but for his magnificent epic poem, the Argonautica, which tells the story of Jason and the Argonauts. This poem is a brilliant work that survives in its complete form, full of literary allusions and displaying encyclopedic knowledge. There's a wonderful story about Apollonius and Callimachus engaging in an epic scholarly feud. Apollonius believed in the viability of traditional epic poetry in the style of Homer. Callimachus argued for shorter, more polished modern poetry. The two men allegedly exchanged poems of invective, mocking each other's positions. Callimachus wrote a poem called Ibis, apparently attacking Apollonius as a traitor to literary progress. Whether this feud was as dramatic as later sources suggest, we can't be certain, but it gives us a glimpse into the passionate intellectual culture of the library. The third head librarian was perhaps the most famous of all, Eratosthenes of Cyrene, who served from approximately 235 BCE until his death around 195 BCE. Eratosthenes was a polymath, brilliant in multiple fields: mathematics, geography, astronomy, poetry, philosophy, and history. Eratosthenes is best remembered for his astonishing achievement in calculating the circumference of the Earth with remarkable accuracy, using only simple geometry and careful observations. He knew that at noon on the summer solstice, the sun shone directly down a well in Syene, a city far to the south. At the same moment in Alexandria, the sun cast shadows at an angle. By measuring that angle and knowing the distance between the two cities, Eratosthenes calculated the Earth's circumference. His figure was within a few hundred kilometers of the actual measurement, an extraordinary feat for someone working over 2,000 years ago. Eratosthenes also created one of the first maps of the known world, introducing terms like geography and geographer. He calculated the tilt of Earth's axis. He wrote on chronology, trying to establish accurate dates for historical events like the Trojan War. He composed poetry and literary criticism. His colleagues called him Beta, possibly meaning he came in second in many fields rather than first in any single one, or possibly because he was the second head librarian after Xenodotus. But second in a gathering of the world's greatest minds still means extraordinary. According to ancient sources, Eratosthenes lived into his 80s. As he aged, his eyesight began to fail. For a man whose entire life had been devoted to reading, to studying, to observing the world, blindness was devastating. Unable to continue his work, according to the accounts, he chose to stop eating, voluntarily ending his life rather than live without the ability to pursue knowledge. Whether this story is true or embellished, it speaks to the passion these scholars felt for learning. Other brilliant minds worked at the library as well, even if they never held the position of head librarian. Euclid, the mathematician whose Elements textbook would be used for over 2,000 years, worked there. the physician Herophilus conducted some of the first systematic human dissections, advancing the field of anatomy. The astronomer Aristarchus of Samos proposed that the Earth and planets orbit the Sun, a heliocentric model that wouldn't be widely accepted for another 17 centuries. The engineer Hero of Alexandria invented the first recorded steam engine, though it was used as a toy rather than for practical work. These scholars didn't work in isolation. They lived in the Mouse-Ion complex, provided with comfortable quarters, meals in communal dining halls, tax exemptions, and generous salaries. They could focus entirely on their research and teaching without worrying about making a living. They debated with each other in the gardens, attended lectures in the great halls, and spent long hours in the reading rooms with scrolls spread before them, occasionally looking up to argue a point with a colleague. A day in the library. Let's imagine ourselves walking through the library on an ordinary day, perhaps in the mid-3rd century BCE, when the institution was at its height. You enter through the main gates into the palace quarter, where guards recognize you as a visiting scholar and allow you to pass. The morning sun is already warm, but a breeze from the Mediterranean carries the scent of salt water and provides relief from the heat. You cross a courtyard where a garden blooms with flowers brought from distant lands. A fountain splashes in the center, and you pause to watch the play of light on water. In the shade of a colonnade, two scholars are already deep in debate, gesturing emphatically as they discuss some philosophical question. You enter the main library building, and your eyes need a moment to adjust to the dimmer light. The air smells of papyrus, ink, and dust. All around you are the scrolls, thousands upon thousands of them, organized in their wooden compartments. Small tablets label each section: Homer here, Herodotus there, medical treatises in another area, mathematical works beyond. A few scholars are already at work even though the day has barely begun. One sits at a table with 3 different versions of the same text spread before him, comparing them line by line to identify variations. He's engaged in textual criticism, trying to determine the most authentic version of an ancient work. When he finds discrepancies, he makes notes in the margin of a fresh scroll where he's creating what he hopes will be a definitive edition. In the scriptorium, professional scribes are beginning their day's work. They sit at desks with fresh papyrus, ink, and reed pens. Some are copying texts for the library's own preservation, ensuring that as old scrolls deteriorate, fresh copies exist to replace them. Others are creating copies for wealthy patrons who have commissioned specific works. The air is filled with the quiet scratch of pen on papyrus, the occasional murmur of a scribe reading quietly to himself as he copies. You're looking for a specific text, something mentioned by another scholar that you need to verify for your own research. A library assistant helps you locate it. He's familiar with the organization system, knows the catalog intimately. He retrieves the scroll you need and brings it to a reading room. You settle at a desk near a window where natural light streams in. You unroll the scroll carefully, using wooden rods attached to each end to prevent it from rolling back up. You scan the columns of text, searching for the passage you remember. Ancient Greek flows before your eyes, unbroken by spaces or punctuation, requiring focused attention to parse correctly. Time passes, Outside, the sun climbs higher in the sky. You've found what you were looking for and have made notes on a wax tablet you brought with you. You roll the scroll back up carefully and return it to the assistant, who will replace it in its proper location. You step outside into the gardens for a break. It's approaching midday, and the heat is building. In the shade of a tree, a small group has gathered around someone giving an impromptu lecture on astronomy. You listen for a while, intrigued by the speaker's explanation of planetary movements. Later, you attend a formal lecture in one of the great halls. The speaker today is discussing the geography of India, a land he visited years ago. He describes cities and customs, animals and plants that sound almost mythical to his audience. But he's a credible witness, and what he says will be recorded, added to the growing body of knowledge about the world beyond the Mediterranean. Dinner is served in the communal dining hall. You eat with other scholars, and the conversation ranges from poetry to mathematics to politics. Someone mentions a new astronomical observation. Someone else challenges it, proposing an alternative explanation. Someone quotes Plato from memory, and another person corrects him, offering to fetch the actual scroll to verify the exact wording. The debate is spirited but good-natured. As evening approaches and the heat finally begins to fade, you return to your quarters in the Mouse Ion. You've had a productive day. Tomorrow, you'll return to your research, perhaps seeking out different texts, perhaps engaging in new debates. The library is always there, always growing, always offering new avenues of inquiry. The global collection. What exactly filled all those thousands of scrolls? What knowledge had been gathered from across the ancient world? The largest portion was naturally Greek literature and philosophy. Every major Greek author was represented: Homer's epic poems, the plays of Aeschylus, Sophocles, Euripides, and Aristophanes, the histories of Herodotus and Thucydides, the dialogues of Plato and the treatises of Aristotle. Greek mathematics was there too: the theorems of Pythagoras, the geometry of Euclid, the astronomical calculations of Hipparchus. But the Ptolemies' vision was genuinely international. They wanted knowledge from all civilizations, not just their own Greek heritage. Egyptian texts were well represented. Ancient sacred records that dated back thousands of years were translated into Greek by priests who could read the hieroglyphic and demotic scripts. A priest named Manetho wrote a history of Egypt specifically for the library, organizing the long succession of pharaohs into dynasties, a chronological framework that Egyptologists still use today. From Mesopotamia came Babylonian and Assyrian texts on astronomy and mathematics. These ancient civilizations had been studying the heavens for millennia, tracking the movements of planets with impressive precision. Their base 60 number system gave us the division of hours into 60 minutes and minutes into 60 seconds, and their astronomical observations formed the foundation for much of later Greek astronomy. Persian religious texts, including Zoroastrian scriptures, found their way to Alexandria. Indian texts arrived as well, possibly including Buddhist writings, the result of diplomatic and cultural exchanges during the Hellenistic period. Perhaps most famously, the Hebrew Torah was translated into Greek at Alexandria, creating what's known as the Septuagint. According to tradition, Ptolemy II commissioned this translation to serve Alexandria's large Jewish community, who spoke Greek rather than Hebrew. 72 Jewish scholars were said to have been brought from Jerusalem to complete the work, giving the translation its name. Septuagint means 70 in Latin. This Greek version of the Hebrew Bible would later be quoted extensively by the authors of the Christian New Testament. The collection included not just literature, history, and scripture, but practical knowledge as well. There were medical texts, including the Hippocratic Corpus, the foundational works of Greek medicine. There were texts on agriculture, explaining planting seasons and soil management. There were architectural treatises, mathematical tables, astronomical charts, geographical descriptions, and even cookbooks. The Ptolemies had meant it when they said they wanted all knowledge. The long decline. For several centuries, the Library of Alexandria stood as the unquestioned intellectual center of the Mediterranean world. But nothing lasts forever, and the library's prominence gradually waned. The beginning of the decline can perhaps be traced to 145 BCE, during the reign of Ptolemy VIII Physcon. Political instability led to violence in Alexandria. Ptolemy expelled many scholars from the city, perhaps seeing them as potential threats to his power. These expelled intellectuals scattered across the Mediterranean, settling in Athens, Rhodes, and other cities. They took their knowledge with them and established new centers of learning. Athens, which had been eclipsed by Alexandria, began its resurgence as an intellectual capital. The library was no longer unique. Other institutions had been inspired by its example and had begun building their own collections. The Library of Pergamum in Asia Minor became a major rival. The Romans, as they conquered the Mediterranean world, began collecting books for their own purposes. In 48 BCE came what may have been the first major disaster, though historians debate its extent. Julius Caesar was in Alexandria, embroiled in the Egyptian civil war between Cleopatra and her brother Ptolemy XIII. Caesar found himself trapped in the palace district, cut off by Egyptian ships in the harbor. To prevent those ships from being used against him, he ordered them set on fire. The flames spread. They reached warehouses near the docks, and some ancient sources say that 40,000 scrolls stored there, perhaps waiting to be cataloged or shipped to patrons, were destroyed. The philosopher Seneca later wrote about this burning. So did the historian Plutarch. Some claimed the library itself burned. Others said only the warehouse scrolls were lost. But the library survived in some form, because later sources clearly reference scholars continuing to work there. The geographer Strabo visited Alexandria around 20 BCE, 70 years after Caesar's fire, and mentioned the Mouseion. His tone suggests it wasn't as prestigious as it once had been, but it still existed. Over the following centuries, the library suffered from something perhaps more deadly than fire: neglect. The Ptolemaic dynasty ended when Egypt was absorbed into the Roman Empire. Roman emperors had less interest in supporting Greek scholarship in far-off Egypt. Funding declined. Positions went unfilled. The constant work of copying scrolls to replace deteriorating ones slowed down and perhaps stopped. Remember that papyrus scrolls were fragile. In the humid Mediterranean climate, they needed to be recopied every few decades or they would simply rot away. If that constant copying wasn't happening, the collection would naturally deteriorate. Some scholars have suggested that this gradual decay, rather than any single catastrophic event, may have been the library's true downfall. In 270 to 275 CE, Alexandria suffered through a violent conflict. Queen Zenobia of Palmyra conquered the city, and the Roman Emperor Aurelian sent armies to take it back. The fighting was fierce. The Bruchian district, where the palace and the library were located, was reportedly devastated. What remained of the library after this period is unknown. The daughter library in the Serapeum may have lasted longer than the main collection. By the 4th century, it had become a gathering place for Neoplatonist philosophers. But in 391 CE, the Roman Emperor Theodosius issued decrees against pagan worship. The Patriarch of Alexandria, Theophilus, ordered the Serapeum destroyed and converted into a Christian church. Whether significant scrolls remained there to be destroyed, or whether the collection had already dwindled to almost nothing, is unclear. One final, poignant story connects to the library's end. A woman named Hypatia, daughter of Theon, lived in early 5th century Alexandria. Theon had been described as a man of the Mouseion, possibly one of the last scholars associated with the institution. Hypatia was a mathematician, astronomer, and philosopher who taught publicly in Alexandria. She represented the old intellectual tradition, the pagan learning that had flourished at the library. In 415 CE, during a period of violent religious conflict in Alexandria, Hypatia was murdered by a mob. Some historians see her death as symbolic of the final end of the library's intellectual tradition, though by then the physical library had likely been gone for decades. What was lost? When we think about the Library of Alexandria, we often focus on the tragedy of what was lost. And it is tragic. The loss is incalculable. How many works of literature vanished that we'll never read? We know the titles of many lost plays by Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Euripides, mentioned in ancient sources, but the texts themselves are gone. We know that Aristotle wrote dialogues in the style of Plato, but those works have completely disappeared. Scientific treatises, historical chronicles, philosophical debates, all vanished. If the library had survived, how different would our understanding of the ancient world be? What technological advances might have come earlier? What philosophical insights might have influenced the development of Western thought more profoundly? The Greek mathematician Hipparchus created a detailed star catalogue. It's lost. Eratosthenes wrote poetry and plays in addition to his geographical and mathematical works. Gone. Countless other scholars produced works that existed nowhere else, and when those unique copies deteriorated or burned, human knowledge was diminished. But here's something important to remember: the library's destruction, whatever form it took, didn't plunge the world into darkness. Much of what was housed in Alexandria had been copied. Wealthy collectors throughout the Mediterranean had commissioned their own versions of important texts. When scholars left Alexandria, they took scrolls with them or their memories of what they had read. The great works of Homer survived because they were copied again and again by generations of scribes. Plato's dialogues, Aristotle's works, Euclid's geometry, all survived because multiple copies existed in multiple places. The plays that do survive from the great Greek tragedians survive because they were performed and copied and loved in many cities, not just stored in Alexandria. The library's true catastrophe wasn't a single burning, dramatic as that image is. It was the gradual erosion, the slow neglect, the failure to maintain the constant work of preservation. It was scholars leaving and not being replaced. It was funding drying up. It was priorities shifting as empires rose and fell. The living legacy. But the story doesn't end with loss. The Library of Alexandria's influence survived its physical destruction, and in many ways, that influence is still with us today. The concept of a universal library, a single institution attempting to gather all human knowledge, became a guiding ideal. When medieval monasteries created scriptoriums to copy and preserve classical texts, they were continuing the library's work. When Islamic scholars in Baghdad created the House of Wisdom in the 9th century, translating Greek texts into Arabic and preserving scientific knowledge during Europe's Dark Ages, they were following Alexandria's example. The Renaissance that revitalized European learning was fueled by the rediscovery of classical texts, many of which had been copied and preserved because they had once been in Alexandria. The printing press, when it was invented, made the preservation of knowledge exponentially easier, but the drive to collect and organize books remained. Today's great libraries, from the Library of Congress to the British Library to the Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris, all owe a debt to Alexandria's vision. The idea that knowledge should be gathered, preserved, and made available to scholars who will push human understanding forward. That's Alexandria's gift to us. And there's something else. In 2002, near the site where the ancient library once stood, a new institution opened, the Bibliotheca Alexandrina. This modern library, with its distinctive circular design and tilting roof, was built with support from UNESCO and the Egyptian government. It can hold millions of books. It features museums, planetarium, and research centers. It's not trying to recreate the ancient library, but to honor its spirit and continue its mission. The ancient library is gone, but the dream that created it lives on. Every library you've ever visited, every database of information, every attempt to organize and preserve human knowledge, reflects that same fundamental drive, the belief that knowledge matters, that learning matters, that understanding the world and recording that understanding for future generations is one of humanity's highest callings. So now, as we come to the end of our journey through time, let's return for a moment to those ancient halls. Picture yourself walking through the library one last time, not as history now, but as a dream. You're alone in the reading room. Evening light slants through the windows, golden and warm. Scrolls surround you, thousands and thousands of them, each one containing someone's thoughts, their discoveries, their stories. The air is quiet, peaceful. You unroll one scroll, just to see. The Greek letters swim before your eyes, beautiful in their shape even if you can't read them. Someone wrote these words 2,000 years ago. They poured their mind onto papyrus, hoping to share what they knew, hoping that future readers would think about what they had thought about. And you are that future reader, across all that vast gulf of time. The library brought you together. Outside, the Mediterranean sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and rose. The scholars are finishing their work for the day, heading to dinner, to conversation, to rest. Tomorrow they'll return. There is always more to learn, always more to discover. The library is peaceful now as you close your eyes. You can hear the distant sound of waves from the harbor, the murmur of evening conversation from the garden. Everything is calm. Everything is well. The knowledge rests safe in its wooden shelves, waiting. The words are patient. They have nowhere to be. They will wait however long it takes for the next curious mind to find them and wonder and learn. And so you rest too, in this quiet place of learning, surrounded by the accumulated wisdom of generations. Let your breathing slow. Let your body relax. There is nothing to worry about. Knowledge is being preserved. Learning continues. The work goes on. Sleep now, peaceful and calm. Let the story of Alexandria drift through your dreams. Let the image of that great library with all its scrolls and scholars give you comfort. Humanity has always sought to understand, to record, to preserve. We lose things, yes. Time takes what it will. But the desire to know, the hunger to learn, the drive to share what we discover with others, that never dies. It lives in every book ever written, every library ever built, every question ever asked. It lives in you. Sleep well.